All right, I know you are super excited about GUI, but we'd like to have you equally excited about disasters and, more importantly, the recoveries of disasters. So with this, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Wojciech Jaszcz. Wojciech started his career in 1998 as a junior IT engineer. Over the past dozen years, he played various management roles in large international companies. Testing and software quality is part of his professional and personal life. Wojciech is co-founder of JSI, the one that you can see here. This is the Polish testing board, for those who don't know, where he held the role of president and vice president for 12 years. He has also been involved in ISTQB for more than 10 years, working for processes and exam working group as chair, as vice chair. You told me your hobby, Wojciech's hobby, is skiing and climbing. And although winter seems to be his preferred season, this guy has a reputation of being a warm person. His talk is called Non-Functional Testing, How to Manage Disaster Recovery. Let's give a warm welcome to Wojciech Jaszcz.
Hi guys. Hi testing community. Are you? Yes, we are. Guys, today after Rex speech is not easy to talk because Rex is really very extremely known person and expert, but today I will tell you a few words about disaster recovery, which is a completely different story. It's not like typical software testing, software development. It's something a bit outside of our daily basis activity. Couple of words about myself and where I'm from. Thank you for introduction. A few words about SJDZ, Stowarzyszenie Jakości Systemów Informatycznych. We met, I think, 14 years ago as a couple of crazy guys, and there was nothing, completely nothing, no testing culture, no testing practices, completely nothing. But this time we were very crazy on quality. We were trying to find our place in software development life cycle. And as a few people, very crazy people, very testing and quality oriented, we say, okay, this is the good time to establish something. And in 2003, we established Polish testing board, which is called Stowarzyszenie Jakości Systemów Informatycznych. This is one of the biggest quality association worldwide, and for sure in Europe, for sure in Poland. And where I'm working right now, this Ingenious, this company where I manage this company, we work with, let's say, cloud solutions. Okay, agenda. Guys, disaster recovery, being honest with you, disaster recovery is not part of testing. It's not testing. This is something what should find a place in the organization. What we can test, this is disaster recovery. We can test disaster recovery, but itself it's not part of testing. What I would like at the end of the presentation, if you understand, if you get knowledge, high-level understanding of disaster recovery and how to manage this, how to use that, how to put in place in your companies. By the way, who speaks Polish? Raise your hands. Excellent. English? Both languages. Only English. Okay, good. I see that most of you speak Polish. If I will lost some English terminology, I will use Polish. Okay? So, what is the agenda? What is disaster recovery? Then I will tell you what is disaster recovery, what is business continuity. Completely two different terms. And then what is the cost of lack of disaster recovery if we don't have disaster recovery completely? Then disaster recovery plan plus testing. This is what might be very interesting for you. Then at the end of the day, conclusions and questions I hope you will have. Disaster recovery, as I said, this is area of planning, security planning to protect organization from negative events, from disasters, from very strange situations. This disaster recovery allows organization to recover after troubles, after problems. What is the difference between disaster recovery and business continuity? Business continuity tells us, business continuity is something what should be in mind of executives all the time. What will happen basically if we lost this building, this company, if we lost our business? How we go out from trouble? Yes. So what should we do during and after disaster? And disaster recovery says, what if we lost our IT services? How to recover from this situation? This is something what take place after a disaster. As you can see here, it's a bit strange on this presentation, but it's not my fault. It's problem of the software. But as you can see here, this is business continuity, this is disaster recovery, and this is something like a backbone for organization. Guys, today, it's extremely difficult to manage modern business with no IT. I don't even imagine if any business may exist with no IT. This is the backbone. And if we lost IT, if we lost our environment, so that company can be closed. Okay. What is disaster recovery from testers' perspective? Guys, any questions? Any idea? Your definition. Works? Works. Any definition? What you are testers how do you want to play with disaster recovery as a testers? Yep. Here you are.
Okay, so maybe from my perspective, if our CI infrastructure fails, burns, or something like that, disappears, if we are able to make this infrastructure running again in very fast time, quick time, for me.
Good! Congrats! Guys, try to imagine, if you don't manage your environments, testing environments, development environments, if you don't manage your data, configuration items, change items, defects, code, you lost. And the question is, if disaster recovery is type of testing, yes, from this perspective, yes, you have to test your environments if you can recover from troubles. But for sure, this is part of overall company. Today's business collects a lot of data. Data about customers, about sales, about products, about competition, everything. Also, from software development perspective, we collect data like defects, like code, like many other things. And this is all quality of the company. If we lose those data, we are not able to predict anything. We are not able to manage, our business. It means we are lost. And this is disaster recovery is very critical part of overall quality of the company. And we are quality guys, yes? Please keep it in mind. This is also part of maintenance and operational mode in software development lifecycle. So who is engaged in software in disaster recovery? Usually not testers, usually not. But I will answer this question a bit later. This is rather admin's activity. Who is admin here? No admins. Not at home? Don't you compile Linux? Oh, good. Don't you compile Yondro Linuxa every night? Okay. Why disaster recovery is important? Because this is critical for business objectives. And as I said, if we store data, we have to manage this data, and we have to continue our business. What is disaster? As you can see here, there are 4 types of disasters. First, it's a natural disaster, like a flood, like a hurricane, like fire, things like that. The next one is a hardware disaster. Yeah? So something went wrong, the computer or server collapsed. Amen. The next one is a software. Yeah? And the last one, last but not least, is as a human. This is critical today. I think a few years ago, we could distinguish very, very much natural disasters, hardware, software, but today's having in mind all those viruses, malwares, crimes, cyber crimes, and things like that, it's really, this is, I think, the main danger. What's more, IT guys, IT security guys forget it very often. This is something like sabotage. If a person is fired, it's not a joke. If you are fired, what would you like to do? Okay, most of you go home, yeah? Take the money and go home. But some of them, most probably not. Some of them will be very pissed off. Okay, so I don't want to continue this story. Yeah, but this is real risk, yeah? What else? Terrorism. Yeah? So then we have to protect our data not only in one place, but in some other places. And okay, quick poll. I have 2 polls to you. And guys, let me ask, please to answer this question. Do you have a disaster recovery policy in place in your companies? Raise your hands. Who has? Good. It's shame to say no, yeah? Okay. Yes, but need more work. We have somehow unofficial. Yeah. Okay. No, but we would like. Okay. Guys, it's maybe 20%. Raised already your hands. We have no plans. Brave you, really brave you. Next pool. How often, if you have, guys, I'm asking those guys who raised hands, for those 3 first points. If you have your plans, once again, who has partially or fully disaster recovery plans in the company? Again, okay. So then, do you test it? Okay, perfect. Once a year? Good. The second person from, I think, 500, maybe 600 here. 2 or 4 times a year? No one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. So every month, no one. Guys, it's you can see how we. This is. And this says me something. I watched a lot of movies, presentations regarding disaster recovery, and asked a lot of number of guys which are working every day with systems, very senior guys, very senior admins. And this is, unfortunately, this is true. If even the company has some policies, has some plans, has some disaster recovery, let's say, management, they don't test it. Once it's completed, it's put something in the, in the box, and it's closed. It's bad. Guys, you have to know that this is not only about the boxes, the environment, yeah? But it's also about our updates. Disaster recovery and recovering from troubles should happen after each upgrade of software, of operation system, database, if we add some hard disk, if we reconfigure our network, some important part of our environment. All this time, at the end of the day, we should launch disaster recovery. And here is a hint for testers and for developers, is automation. Yeah, Rex gave a speech about automation, and this is my part of automation. This is the place where you can automate. If you are good developers, admins, sorry for saying that, but admins usually don't want to code a lot. Yeah? They are rather relying on solutions, of course, on PowerShells, on some scripts, but they don't want to automate so many things. And this is the place where you can, as a testers, as a software engineers, can play. Good. Guys, I'm 40-something, and my memory is not so good. Then I will go for my notes. Some numbers. As I said, there are 4 main types of disasters. It's a human, hardware, software, and natural disaster, as you can see, only 5%. Yeah? Everything else relies on us. But how much it costs? This is data taken from disaster recovery report, but I have here some other numbers, and here too. And HP says in 2012, today it can be even worse. In 2012, HP says that 25% of mid-sized companies, let's say 1,000 people, yeah, working in 1,000, maybe a bit more, work in those companies, but 25% companies didn't reopen after major disaster. They just collapsed, 25%. This is data from US, but I think this is also very valid for Europe. Downtime, 1 hour downtime, don't look on this table for now. This is a different story. But downtime, cost of 1 hour downtime is about $75,000. $75,000. And another company, IDC, the big consulting company, worldwide consulting company, says it's 70. More or less, let's say 70, yeah? Roughly, 70,000. And in the same times, IT managers asked for, by Harris Interactive, big company, big consulting company, what is roughly, what is typical time of downtime? It's 30 hours. 30 hours takes to recover from troubles, 30 hours. If you match 70,000 and 30 hours, it's $2 million. If this happened, it's here. If this happened, let's say more or less 3 times a year, it's $6 million yearly per each company, medium-sized company. I think it would be better if those money could be spent, for example, on your yearly bonus, isn't it? Yeah, or not? Yeah, I would like, at least I would like. Okay, so, but a funny thing, IT managers said that this is 30 hours, when executives said it's only 10 hours, yeah? Maybe because of better visibility. Okay, so all these cost a lot of money, and what's more, this is what we can measure, yeah? This is what we can measure, but some data we can't measure. I mean, this is reputation, lost customers, lost market, things like that. And remember, 25% companies didn't recover from troubles. And the disaster recovery plan, what is on my next charts, takes, I think, more or less 1 week to be composed and to be implemented. And next couple of days takes, execution of this testing of this disaster recovery plan. Here, some other numbers. Brokerage firm, big companies like banks, international banks, international brokerage companies. It's a big money, but they have a lot of money. Don't worry about them. Good. Any questions for now? You are so quiet. I know it's before lunch. Okay. Feel free to ask me. or maybe at the end of the presentation. Okay, we have to speed up a little. Okay, we distinguish two main KPIs for disaster recovery. This is RTO and RPO. This is a recovery time objective, is RTO, and recovery point objective. This is some kind of agreement. If you work on, okay, if we come to with, if we as IT come to conclusion with top management to create a disaster recovery plan, there are two main KPIs, RTO plus RPO. Those two KPIs, again, recovery point of objective, it means RPO, how much data do we lose? And RTO says, or define, the time between disaster and recovery. It would be great if this is less than half an hour. If 0 is impossible, because it takes some time for systems to be launched again. In each company, this can be, this may vary application to application. This may be different from application to application. So, if we create disaster recovery plan, what do we do, guys? If we do test plan, what we do? Where do we start? Tell me, please. Who created the test plan, guys? Test cycles. Yeah, this is it's similar. Yeah. What else? We do analysis, business analysis from testing perspective. What may happen? Yeah. What is important? What is less important? What is a risk? Etc. 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 This is some kind of agreement between us and the rest of the world. What will we do? Yeah. So if we create a test plan or project plan, this is agreement. Okay, we will do this, and exit criteria is this, entry criteria is this. Full stop. Yeah, and yearly bonus paid. Here, this is an agreement between IT and executives. What critical applications we have to recover first, and what is this RTO? Oh, sorry. Good. And what is RTO and RPO? You have to imagine, and this will be presented a bit later. You have to take into consideration, but not imagine. Have to into consideration that 0 downtime, yeah, then you recover immediately, costs a lot of money. It's really a lot of money. Licenses are extremely expensive, yeah, and must be doubled. So then executives buy in. It means that executives must find a budget for that. It's not cheap. Very modern solutions for disaster recovery cost a lot of money. Boxes, I mean servers, storage networks, switches, blah, 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 blah. All this costs a lot of money. And plus licenses, plus personnel, very skilled personnel. Yeah? There are not guys, Linux admins taken from academic. It's different type of guys. So once this business analysis is done, we do risk assessment. Here, risk management policy in place. Who worked with risk-based testing? Risk-based testing. Foundation level, ISTQB foundation level, maybe advanced. Wow. Do you manage risks in your daily basis life? Yeah, you do. Excellent. Beautiful. Fantastico. Okay. So once we have this analysis, we have to measure our risks. First of all, we have to figure out what infrastructure is available and what critical applications we can support by this infrastructure. And also, have you heard about Pareto? Pareto. 20/80. Yeah. Here, Pareto rule takes place. Yeah, that 20% of application creates 80% of defects. It's more or less the same. But for all of these, you can use risk management policy, how to measure risks and how to manage risks. Good. So once we did this risk management, we have to identify and eliminate, at least mark on red, our thin, our weak points. I mean, single point of failure, potential points where our application our business may collapse. This may be network, system, servers, storage power, blah, 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 blah. I didn't put here human. Okay, but this is, please remember, human should be also here, human factor. I think sometimes, pretty often, much more important than all those steel boxes. Risk management may vary because of different environments. Maybe can be different in cloud, can be different in hybrid environment, can be different in on-premise solutions. Okay, and the case study. Now, once we created this test plan, or this disaster recovery plan, we can execute this on real-life solutions, real-life environment. And this will be case study. First, this is an example of a very automated, very high-level solution. This is a real-life example, taken from big company, located in Poland. But this is part of international company, big company. There are two. This is Go cluster. Guys, on my presentation, in my environment, this was good. So here is not good. Typical case of developers. Works perfectly on my environment. Guys, this is Go cluster. There are two sites in Warsaw, and the mirror is located in Łódź. And agreed time for RTO and RPO is for RPO we don't lose any data. RTO we have 30 minutes for recovery. Yeah. Advantages, disadvantages. This is fully automated. This is high availability, very low business impact. I mean, this should recover us immediately from troubles, but extremely expensive. Licenses everywhere here for clusters. I mean, SAP needs double licenses, expensive licenses. The same about Oracle, blah 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 blah, and very skilled, very expensive personnel. This is dedicated for CRM, ERP, real-time applications. Because we have only 5 minutes left, I have to speed up. This is the next example of the environment. It's not a cluster. There is no fiber channel. You see, there is fiber channel also here. Expensive. Yeah, this pipe is very expensive. Here is not fiber channel. It's only IP. I mean, a typical network, high speed but typical network, and it's limited automation, very limited automation. There are some causes, some process, and RPO. It's 8 hours. And here you have to expect that some data will be lost, for sure. 8 hours between one system and the second system, and backup system is 8 hours. It's a lot of time, a lot of data too. But this is dedicated for QA and the dev environment, and the recovery time it's less than 1 day. Okay, good example. We tested this environment, this first environment. This test took place a few years ago. Yeah, we checked if application works. So this is the scenario. The scenario was like that. We take out the plug from the server, just loss of power. The plug was taken out from the wall. And the scenario was like that. We checked availability of this server and then this server. I don't want to go through a whole this scenario because you can read it. Finally, if all those points, we reached point number 6, and if those previous points, those previous conditions were achieved, this server took full responsibility of this SAP server. And the next, and here, where is the testing, typical testing in place? This is the place, this is a place for, this is the place after application is running, is launching, there is a place for functional tests, for typical, for you guys, what you can do. But this will be presented on the next chart. But the next case was, if this whole left side, if Warsaw collapsed completely, this cluster on the right-hand side was activated, should works, and data should be recovered. No losing data, and we passed this test, and this was absolutely okay. But guys, again, this is continuous activity. This is continuous policy. It's not a one time. Yeah. This is the key point here. What is very important? Root cause analysis. Once it happened, a few guys must sit down and check why sorry for this word, why shit happens. Okay, this is the testing procedure. What we check after recovery. This is the big checklist. What we check: applications, databases, virtual machines, and network, storage, cluster itself, etc., etc. Part of this job, part of this list can be assigned to testers, to you, to engineers, for sure. What QA team can do? For sure, you can manage smoke test in this whole disaster recovery testing. You can manage smoke test. You can use part of UAT test cases for checking if application, for example, SAP, yeah, or HR systems works properly. This is very good place for automation, for Selenium, for example. You can use Selenium or any other tool for automation of this. Performance, data consistency. What do you think? What else can be executed? What else can be checked? Stress test, performance, stress, load, everything like that. Yeah. Good, guys. Some best practices and standard. You can take it, you can read it, put into reality. So that's all from my side. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Wojciech. Thank you very much. Will we have time just for one question, maybe?
Sure.
Let's try and shoot.
Will be there, yeah?
So the top question, and the question is, I do not agree with your view on business continuity versus disaster recovery. BC Plan is the top-level document for any company, and IT infrastructure DR plans follow the general BC procedures. Wouldn't you agree?
Of course.
Wojciech, 60 seconds.
Okay. Anyone can disagree. That's fine. This is why we are here. My perspective is we have to have business continuity policy in place. This is absolutely must. And this is not IT or software or, let's say, engineers' responsibility. This is responsibility of, let's say, of the business, of the top management. How do we support, as IT, business continuity is disaster recovery? Again, business continuity says how do we behave during disaster and after disaster. Disaster recovery says how do we manage, how do we behave just after disaster, how we recover from troubles. That's it. There are a couple of different, approaches. For example, I saw disaster recovery plan composed by 17 chapters. Crazy. Who followed that? And so that's my point of view.
Lovely, thanks very much. Ladies and gentlemen, before you go, let me just quickly tell you that on the second floor there's the exhibition room where you want to see Nokia products, including LTE, RF radio, and IoT. If you'd like to have lunch in the building, you can. There is a buffet just outside. However, this one is not giving you a discount. If you'd like lunch with a discount, showing your badge, you need to find a place just outside. We will be continuing at 12:40, but before we go, let's thank Wojciech Jaszcz.